I've said this before and I'll say it again. Just keep it simple and fix it the way it came from the factory.
There's always lots of good stuff inside Nick's garage, and today the boss is going to give us a tour. And then we'll watch the engine coming out of this beautiful black GTX.
Okay, welcome to Nick's garage. This is the street where we do our burnouts, test our cars. And as you can see, there's not much road test I can do now with our muscle cars. So we got all the snow here, and this is normal this time of the year for here in Canada. Let's take a tour of what's going on in the shop. So let's go into my shop and see what's going on. So let's go inside, it's also warmer. Here we are. It's a massive building. We've got lots of heat going on in here. We've got a few cars. It's not as busy as usual because we're in a lockdown here in Quebec. Plus there's a curfew at 8 o'clock at night. So we're gonna do the best we can. It's only Vasilis and I. We're just working on a couple of projects. But let me go through some cars that I've gone through in a couple of months here. Let's start with this Coronet. It came in with a lot of little things that didn't go working correctly. So we finally got a lot of things done on it. The only thing I haven't done yet is the wheel alignment because I have to send it out. I want to drive it there, drive it back, but we're going to do that in the springtime when the streets are dry. But in the meantime, I just want to say that we did some work on it. We got the original bolt that we needed for the latch right here. We had the scoop that was loose. We tightened it down. It's not loose anymore. The wipers work, the courtesy lights work, the flashers work, park lights work, brake lights work. Just about everything. The horn works. Let's go try it. We got the turn signals to work. We got everything going on it. Now I'm just waiting for Frank Parks to send me a piece I've ordered for the rear bracket that holds the license plate. It's also the gas cap door, which should be coming in hopefully today or maybe next week, so I can put that on and then get ready for delivery. But one thing I want to mention, even the customer mentioned it to me, you know, the gap on the trunk, it's not exactly perfect. If you take a look right here, that the gap here is much bigger than it is over there. But what my client said was, he was correct what he said, that the rear deck panel right here was not replaced, neither of the two quarter panels were replaced, and also the original trunk lid is still here. So reality is they did come from the factory the way it is. So you know what? It's got a bigger gap, smaller gap. We're gonna leave it just the way it is. He also got me a new stripe to install, but we're not gonna install it because right now it's gonna go to another body shop that's gonna get water sanded and polished. And that is the reason why I'm not gonna do the stripe, because it's gonna get done after it's polished completely by another. I believe Roger's gonna do the job. He's gonna do the job, and then after that, when all that is done, we're gonna put this new stripe on it to line up perfectly in the middle with the rear side markers. First of all, let's see if the courtesy lights work right there. See that? Perfect. Next, let's put on the flashers. Here we go. We got one flasher going. Let's try the other side. Okay, take off the flashers. Let's put on the park lights. Are they working? All the side markers are working. Let's press the brakes. I'll take off the park lights. I'll press the brakes. There we go. We also got the reverse light to work, like so. There we go. And also on the dash. This is what I love about Mopars. You know, when it's a manual shift, manual transmission, they got the reverse light. That is one beautiful item. That is one beautiful thing, let me tell you. We also fixed the door to close nicely. There we go. We couldn't close the door before. Now you just go like this. There we go. You didn't, before we had to slam it. Now we had the latch adjusted and it works fine. Those other items on it, I don't remember. The antenna used to be crooked on an angle. We fixed that. Now it's nice and straight. You know, a lot of mopeds, I notice when people install the antenna, they don't have the bracket underneath correctly installed. And this is the way it's supposed to be right here. This is the way it is, straight up. And that's the same thing I did with the orange Cuda. I had to also fix his antenna because my client with the Cuda saw me doing this one. So he goes, Nick, why don't you do mine while you're at it? So, and of course, I spent a lot of time on my Kawasaki Challenger trying to make it perfect because they don't line up perfect most of the time. So you got to make it straight. So that's another item that's a common thing I do here in my shop. Yeah, this car needs a good water sand, polishing. So it's gonna go, I believe, to Rogers. He's gonna take care of that. And that is the reason why I'm not gonna touch the stripe. It's gonna get done after that. The only job left I got right now is that piece of bracket to come in from Frank. So I'm waiting for it to come in so I can get it installed and then have the car delivered to the owner. And after all, now it's starting to look like a real sharp car. Now it's starting to look like a sharp car up close. You know, I'd like to take this car for a drive. As you can see outside, we have a lot of snow. But in the springtime, when it does come back, we'll send it out for a wheel alignment. Then I'll take it for a drive. And I want to drive it with the roof down, with everything intact, the way it came from the factory. And I hope Joe comes for a ride with me on top of that. I'm sure he will. It's good, it's good. We also had the radio installed with the speaker. We got the speaker done. That's in. The lighter was not working, the lighter element, and that's a very important thing that I notice on a lot of muscle cars. They come in and the lighters don't work. But maybe, you know, the lighter element, you have to fix it. You want the socket to work because today everybody has these telephones that need recharging everywhere they go. So you need a socket to work. So I make sure in all the muscle cars that the socket for the lighter, which is the power outlet, that they work because, you know, not for the lighter because they're non-smokers, for their phones or anything else that they want to charge. And that's a very important item on a lot of these muscle cars. Like I tell everybody, oh, I don't smoke, don't worry about it. But no, you got to fix that socket. You got to make it sure it works. Just like in my Kawasaki Challenger, just like this one, just like the Cuda, just like any other muscle cars. And when it has a lighter, it should work no matter what. You know, Joe, I got to give you credit. You waited a long time to get this car fixed, restored from the day you bought it. But right now, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of my people, customers come in here, clients, and everybody says that when they see this car, it's one beautiful car. And now that everything's properly working, aligned, and it works fine, it's perfect. It's great. The only thing, like I said, besides the water sanding and nice finishing with polishing and put the stripe back on in the correct location, it's a perfect car. So Joe, I gotta give you credit. You did a good buy. It's a beautiful car. Everything was beautiful. Now it's good. Now it looks good even at a close-up. So if you guys are interested, if you don't believe me, come by my shop and take a look at it. And now it deserves an Nick's Garage sticker. As we all know, this is a 440 equipped car. And now let's go to another car with a 440 6-barrel 1970 Cuda. It belongs to Julien, friend of mine, also a good client of mine. Originally, he's from the Bronx. That's why he's got the plates written Bronx here, personalized plates in Quebec. Another one that is a 4-speed also, a 440 car with a shaker. And it's a vitamin C orange car, 440 equipped. Come and see, another 440. There's a dozen 440s in this shop, let me tell you. There's one after the other. There's a few more details that we gotta go through. I've gotta get him the right cap for the radiator. I've gotta get him the other cap for the windshield washer container. I ordered him an upper post cable, a nice one, because this one's all chewed up with Whoever used to put booster cables on or battery chargers really ruined it up. So I got him another one coming in. Little things. And there's another one. The antenna was also on an angle. I've lined this up also straight. It should be a telescopic. It's not this. This is a later model antenna, which is called a whip type or whatever you want to call it. But the telescopic is the original one. But bottom line, it's nice and straight. Took some time to make this base settle in, to make it nice and straight, but it's finally done. And this car was originally sold brand new in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And the original owner, when he came back from Vietnam, bought it brand new, and his name is Greg and Trish Borisic, all the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin. And they're the original owner of this proud orange 6-barrel Cuda. So if you guys are watching, this is the original that had this car before, and now Giuliano owns it here in Montreal. I don't know where he went through to find the research on the previous owners, and then he contacted the original owner and also got pictures of him when he bought the car and when he had it with his wife and when he came back from Vietnam, that he bought the car brand new and he started to do a few things on it like everybody else did back in the day, used to race them. And of course, you know, you put a few things on, you put mag wheels, you put headers, and so forth. And like everybody else did, like I did myself also in the mid-70s. So there you have it, and a nice original full 46-barrel car right from the factory. Pistol grip, no console, and we all know that the rally cluster on a Cuda was an option. The rally cluster on a Challenger RT was standard equipment on the 383 and 440, 446 pack and aim. It came with a rally cluster with the RT package. The rally cluster was standard equipment. But on a Cuda, the rally cluster, no matter what engine you got, was an option. But when you got a Hemi, the shaker was standard equipment. But when you got a 446 pack or a 383 or whatever, the shaker was an option. If you guys are wondering what's going on here, I removed the go wing and the shaker, and I've got them sent out to Rogers to get it painted the correct color because the go wing and the shaker on this car were gloss black, which is very, very shiny black, which was not correct. So I've sent them out to Rogers to get them done the correct way, the way it came from the factory. This is what my customer insisted on doing, and this is what we've done. And speaking of 440 Cuda, 440 Coronet, I've also got a 1974 Jensen, which is I'm going to start working on it very soon, also equipped with a Dodge Chrysler Plymouth 440. You can't see it right now. I got it right now in storage because I've got a few things to do on it. I got a cooling system to working on. I got to wrap the exhaust system, which I have over here. You wanted to keep the cabin from getting hot during the summertime. So since it's got headers, what we did is we wrapped the exhaust system underneath the cabin so it won't give off heat to the floor pan. When you have headers and you have big pipes and it gives off a lot of heat, wrap them and it'll keep the cabin cooler for the summer hot days when you drive with cars with headers. Tristan, the owner of this car, came in with a big list. I was supposed to do it last year. I didn't have a chance, so I've got it now, and hopefully I want to get working on it soon. We've got exhaust. We have a cooling system to look at. We wanted to look at the relays, how the fans work, look at the carburetor, try to keep the engine much cooler, keep the cabin cooler, but it gives us a lot of heat with exhaust pipes, and a few other little items. So I'm going to have to go through the list again, and it's got also a Prestone coolant leak. It's got other things on it, but all these little things, but we're going to look at it very soon. I also have another client who brought in a car that's been from one body shop to another because they try to fix a few things on it or whatever, I don't know. My customer Michael brought it in here because he wanted to fix the headlights that did not operate and also the door that goes up and down to release the wipers to clean the windshield. The headlights, the door that goes up and down to release the wipers. The headlights, the door that goes up and down to release the wipers. The headlights, the headlights, the headlights. So we had to replace quite a few pieces. We had the vacuum canisters replaced. We had to free up the linkages for the doors. We had to replace a few vacuum hose connections. We had to also replace the switch for the door, and we had to adjust everything, put a few new vacuum hoses, and apparently nothing worked. So, you know what? We need vacuum to make this thing work. I'm gonna start the car, and I'm gonna show you guys how the headlights work and how the door for the hidden wipers work. So, take a look. It's also a manual transmission. Gotta make sure it's neutral. Here we go. Okay, let's try the headlights. And now I'm going to try the wipers. And watch that door go up. And then when you shut the wipers down, look at that, eh? I had Vasilis and Manny work on this car. They put some time on to get it done right. And there we go. We got headlights working, the doors working, everything was seized. The canisters were kind of rusty. They were leaking vacuum. We had to replace the switch for the wipers, do a few linkage adjustments. So, there's always something to be done when things move around, lights, electricals, vacuum hoses. We finally got it going. And we're also going to replace the electric fan. And we're going to go with a shroud and a clutch fan the way it came from the factory. And I'm sure you should have no issues with the clutch fan and with the shroud because it came from the factory with no issues of overheating or whatsoever. So we're going to go back to factory style. Then I got Tim's 69 Roadrunner. I've got the engine in the engine room. I'm waiting for a flywheel to come in so I can get the engine balanced. But in the meantime, I have it here. So we got an engine job to do on this. We got to do a little bit of engine detailing in the engine compartment. And also, he wants me to also remove the 4-speed manual transmission, 18 spline, take it apart, look at the bearings, look at the seals, change the seals, I should say. And simple thing like a little overhaul, and then put it back in and start working on the engine very soon. By the way, I got a 6-pack in today, so I'm going to take you guys later into the engine room, and I'll show you something with the carburetor that came in from the carb guys from Ontario. What I like is I want the cars to work like the way they came from the factory. The way they pop out, then the lights open, then you turn them off, they pop down, just like the wipers. Some people remove the door, for example, some vets. I've seen all kinds here coming through my shop, but I like them to be fixed the way they came from the factory. They all came working from the factory when the cars were brand new. And then after the year has gone through, things wear out, things get seized, sometimes parts get fatigued or don't want to work anymore. So our job here in our shop is to get them fixed. That's what we do. If we can't find the part, we'll make it. If not, we're gonna have to search. There's the internet today. You could go around the world look for this piece. Like for this example, we wanted to get through the hose connections and the electrical connections. No big deal. We went on the internet, follow the wiring diagrams, fixed all the connections. We also replaced the engine harness for the engine. And now we got the engine to work, got the gauges to work, and of course the headlights and so forth, the wipers to work the way they came from the factory. Like this car from the factory, I know it came with a small block Chevy. It's got a big, huge radiator, and now it's got a big electric fan. And I was asking him, why do you have a big electric fan? The original clutch fan did the job. So now he's got to switch his side on and off this here. And then the car came in here. Look at this, unfinished products. I just told him, you know what? I like the way the things come from the factory. For example, these cars came with a clutch fan, with a shroud that did the job with a belt on the pulleys. So why not go back to that? I'm sure it's going to work. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that a lot of customers come in with some cars. Some people know, some people don't know. I try to educate them that all these cars from the factory were professional people that build them, engineers. You know, they did the best they can. They did testing, they tried it, they've been on the roads for years and years. So you know that the fan works, things like that. So why do you need to remove the fan and go to electric fan? You know why? Well, there's different reasons when you're going all out racing on a racetrack. Then I understand it's a different story. But for a street car, like a daily driver or a weekend driver, just keep it simple and fix it the way it came from the factory. You know, back in the day, back in the 70s, when we used to work on cars, I remember building cars with friends of mine, with my brothers. You know, we used to take off exhaust manifolds. We used to put in headers, dual exhaust, big pipes, electronic ignition, Mallory, big ignition, axle coils, big carburetors, and, you know, maybe electric fans, big air cleaners, took out the double stroke air cleaners, put chrome air cleaners, or even flip the air cleaner over on the lid. We did a lot of crazy things. But today, a lot of these classic cars are worth more money as being original. So nowadays, instead of me taking them apart and doing what I used to do, now I start putting them back factory ways. You know, I like putting back the original valve covers, putting back the original exhaust manifolds, original batteries with their caps. You know, this is why that makes sense to a lot of people that have a classic car. They're worth more. And you know what? You're getting older, you're not racing anymore, you want to enjoy the car and drive it and cruise with it, and this is what you want to do, is you bring it back to the factory form, the way it came from the factory. I just want to say something special came in the last week. Right here. It's a friend of mine. I've known him for quite a few years. It's called a Boss Haas motorcycle with a V8 350 small block Chevy. He's brought it here. He wanted me to tear it down and look at it because he's got unbalanced compression, cylinder pressure. So he's told me to tear it down and look for the problem. Is it a ring? Is it a valve job? Whatever. Get a few stains on it. You want to do a little bit of cleanup, more shiny on some of the pieces. So that is the reason why it's here. So we're going to tear it down, not a rush, to tear it down and see what I could do with it. And of course, she sure wants to put on the dynamometer to see what kind of horsepower it's going to make. Think about it, a V8 in a motorcycle. And then, you know, I also want to say this is the first time I see a small block Chevy made out of aluminum. And after all that's done and fixed, it's going to be on my dyno, so we can do some tests to see what kind of real power this thing makes. No, I've never owned a motorcycle. You know, a lot of people tell me, Nick, did you ever buy a motorcycle or anything? No, you know, I like motorcycles, but I know if I get on a motorcycle, I'm going to go crazy with it. So, you know, I try to stay safe, stay away from bikes, and I'll stay with my cars. I remember when I was in Europe, in Greece, in 1972, I had a motorcycle for 2 weeks. And believe me, I drove the bike like a nut. And I know that if I came to a big city like Montreal and owning a motorcycle, and if I drove like I did in Europe, where the small streets were and a lot less traffic, I'd kill myself. So you know what? I left off with the bikes, don't want to touch them. They're great, but not for me. So I'm back with my cars. I'll stay with my cars. You know what, you guys, you could always enjoy a muscle car. You could drive it on cold days. You could bring 2-3 people with you. You're much safer, my opinion. So you know what? Stay with the cars, you guys. Can't go wrong. I know bikes are great, but not for me. This is another engine. It's a 3D3 Magnum that belongs to a 1970 Charger 500. It belongs to Donal. We had the cylinder heads replaced because this is the engine that had the pistons 80 thou below the deck. So we got them another set of heads, closed chamber heads. And we also had them planed down 50 thou and closed chamber so we can increase the pressure on the cylinders. So we went from if I believe it was a 150 cylinder pressure, we brought it up to 165. And we gained about 33 more horsepower. Of course, my client wanted the exhaust manifolds the way it came from the factory, and this is exactly what we did. And at the same time, I just received a carburetor today that belongs to this particular motor. Here's another one ready for delivery. Or in this case, installation. I've got a little 289 here that belongs to Brian. Comes from that 66 white Mustang I got in the back there. He's brought it in because he wanted to convert it to Willwood disc brakes up front, which Vasilis had installed not long ago. And very soon we're going to start tearing down this 289 little small block Ford engine. Now, I don't know what this produces from the factory, but what he wants is just a little bit over 300 HP. People are telling me, Nick, you want to make over 300 HP? You're going to have to rev this engine quite a bit. So I'm not so sure if we're going to go to a 302 or not, but my client says, Nick, I like to work with a 289. So I'm going to tear it down, see what I've got inside, and then we're going to take it from there. Here's the 66 Mustang. This is the one where the 289 belongs to. I just want to say we just converted the front brakes from drums to discs, and also the master cylinder from a single reservoir to a dual reservoir, which is a lot safer, which is also installed. So, you know, besides being a beautiful, nice 66 Mustang, we're going to do the brakes. We're going to be doing we're going to have to beat the brakes, of course, and I want to take it for a drive after. And I want to start working on the engine very soon, which is going to come up soon. I've just got to make a few deliveries on a few engines. I've also got the 440 ready for Sebastien. This is the one that had the valve damage, the cylinder head right here, cylinder number 2, on a 1970 lime green Challenger. Right here. Done and built and tested. That's another one ready for delivery. I've got the 440 here that belongs to Eugene. I got the short block ready. I got the crank, got the line hole. I got his Molnar connector rods, forged pistons, flat top, 30 oval bore. And people wanted to know what a zero deck is. What a zero deck is, it's right here. When you cut the deck to the maximum top dead center and it balances out even. This is what you call zero decking, or should I say, when you're looking for power, you want a good quench. This is what you do on a performance engine. This belongs to the 69 Charger 500. And I also received this carburetor, which I've located in M1. Then I had Donnie Orkey from the Carb guys from Ontario restore it for me. Also rebuild it and restored it. And if you look at the number here, it corresponds to a 1969 440 automatic car, non-AC. There it is. We finally got the carburetor for Eugene. We're going to try it on the dyno anyways. And then we're going to try a Holley carburetor that he also has a 3310 Holley in his trunk. We're going to rebuild that one. Also try it on his engine build. But we don't know exactly how far we're going to go with this engine, but the future will tell us. Stay tuned for future videos and you guys will see the updates on that. Then I've got another 440 right here that belongs to Tim from Vancouver. This is an A12 car. I had it bored out. I did not deck it yet. I'm working on a few things. But in the meantime, I received these 3 carburetors also from Donnie. He also did a restoration on it. They were not exactly perfect when they came in. They were leaking. They were running a little bit rough. But he also wanted to have it detailed. This is what we're up with Tim from Vancouver. He wanted them detailed to look original. They had different bolts, different colors before. But this is the way they come from the factory. And I can't wait to get this engine running. And of course, this will be on the dynamometer also. So ain't this beautiful? If you guys are looking for carb restoration and to also rebuild them at the same time, of course, Donnie Orkey, right here, the carb guys. He'll take care of you. Well, here's an example of a 6-pack he just delivered to me. Here's a Carter AVS from a 69 Charger 500, which belongs to Eugene. And another one that came from the factory, 1970 Charger 500 3D3 Holley carburetor, right from Chrysler. Here's another one done by Donnie, the carb guys. Another one. So I've got a few carburetors here. He's done a few of them for me, quite a few. And I love his work. I love his detail work. And they always work great. And then I've got another 440, which was built by someone with a stroker 520 cubic inch. But it sounds like a diesel, so it's kind of loud, the engine, you know. But my customer, John, is not happy with it. So I told him either it's got too much piston to wall clearance or the pistons of a very short skirt. And for that reason, we're going to tear out the engine, tear down the engine apart and see what he's got. So we could put another set of different pistons or maybe de-stroke it and make the engine run very quiet, the way it came from the factory. We've got a beautiful 71 GTX here that's from Staten Island, New York. Belongs to John. Beautiful car. Very rare to get a 71 model year in my shop. Also equipped with that 440. So Vasilis here tearing it down so we can take out the engine very soon. So I can't wait to get started on this motor. Car's been here for a while. We had to send out the torque converter. We wanted to make sure it was balanced. I sent that out, got it balanced. I've also got him a Schumacher motor mount on the driver's side, which is installed. But now we're just going to take out the engine and start from scratch. Let's see what it really is making that noise in that motor. It sounds like a diesel. And I'm sure it's the pistons. I've seen it before. I've seen guys when they build engines very loose, piston to wall clearance, or they have a piston with hardly any skirt left on it, especially on the stroker. It sounds like a diesel. And that is the reason why we're going to tear it down and see what we can do with it. Vasilis, what do you need help with?
Nothing.
Exhaust or anything?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Torque converters off?
Yeah.
Starters off? We're doing good, we're doing good. Vasilis been on it all afternoon, so we're just ready soon to pull out the engine. He's draining the oil. He's taking out the coolant. He's taking out the motor mounts, tear down the exhaust system. And very soon, before you know it, we're going to be pulling it out. You know, a lot of people are asking what kind of oil I use in the engines. I use Lucas Racing Oil, which is 10W30 or 20W50 with zinc, with a high volume of zinc. That's the oil I use on many cars with the flat tappet cams. If it was a roller cam, you can use anything you wish. But when it comes to a flat tappet cam, always make sure that you use oil that has zinc. So with that zinc, you're going to protect the cams from wearing out. Go. Another 440. We had the two bolts loosened up on the exhaust manifold going to the exhaust pipe, and it came apart. If you look closely right here, you can see that the block is black. So that means it's been cracked from before. So you can see it's all black from the top. So we're gonna have to locate another exhaust manifold for the right-hand side. And you know, a cast iron is hard to weld. Here's the piece of it. It's sandwiched with the bolts. So as we remove the bolts, this came out. It's been cracked for a long time. You can see the carbon right along the crack. So there you have it. Here it is. That's the number I'm looking for. If anybody has one, give me a call. It ends with 879, right-hand side, 1971 exhaust manifold. There's the one. If you guys know one for sale, give me a ring. I'll be more than glad to buy it.
See that? That is too much. Guys, if you see the cylinders, look, it's brand new still. All around. And you can hear it too. There, you heard it? That's his noise. Usually stroker pistons you hear a little bit, but not that was a little bit too much. There's no skirt, that's why it's so noisy. Usually the skirt, I'd say, comes about there. It's for the strokers that make them like, because when it goes down, so it has clearance to the crank or to the block, wherever comes closer. If there's a stroker, the piston comes lower, and the skirts might touch the counterweights on the crank.
So now I just got to figure out, because it's a stroker, I got to figure out another design piston with a longer skirt, maybe less piston to wall clearance to avoid the noise of a diesel sound engine. So, you know, in this particular setup, it's normal. The sound it makes is normal, so there's no danger. It'll still run, except it's annoying listening to an engine that sounds like a diesel. You know, if it was my personal preference, I don't like that sound of a diesel engine. Because it doesn't sound correct. You know, there is piston slap, sounds like a diesel. But you know, when you got a beautiful muscle car like that, you want it to be quiet, you want it to cruise, you don't want to hear a diesel engine. People could say, you know, even before you open the hood, they might say you have a diesel engine. It's not a diesel engine. It's just that the piston has a long slap in it and it sounds like a diesel. But in my preference, no, I don't like that kind of noise. I like to have it super quiet like every other 440 I've built. So let's build it right, get the right pistons, the right setup, and make it quiet again like the way it came from the factory. When people hear piston noises or should I say engine noise, they're not comfortable with that. You know, it's another thing, muffler, you know the sound of a muffler, it's the echo or the sound of the exhaust system. But a sound coming out of an engine, people say, you know, it's a mechanical thing. They don't like it, they don't trust it, so they don't really like it. So my job here is to eliminate that noise and make it quiet. So now that we've taken it apart, now I know what kind of pistons he's got. It's my job to find the correct piston, the right compression ratio, less piston wall clearance, or a different alloy with a longer piston skirt so I can eliminate the noise. And that's all we have to do. And there you have it. And you guys, thanks for watching me here on Nick's Garage in my shop. Thank you and stay safe. And you guys, if you look down below the video, we have a whole bunch of merchandise that you guys can buy. So whatever you like, buy it, love it, wear it, and enjoy it. And help spread the word of Nick's Garage. And if you have some time, check out our Patreon page. We have extra content and you guys can watch it and take it from there. And we'll see you next time.